Welcome to my YouTube channel. Have you ever wondered if your change could be worth something more than its face value? What if a single penny, 1 cent, could be worth millions? Today, we're diving into a fascinating story about a specific penny, the 1990 60 penny, and the potential it has to change the way we view coins forever. To understand the value of the 1990 60 penny, we need to first dive into its history. The U.S. penny has a rich legacy that stretches back to 1793, when it was first introduced. But let's focus on 1996, the year of our penny. In 1996, the United States Mint produced billions of pennies, with the Denver Mint, marked with the D Mint mark, producing a significant portion. These pennies were made from a mix of copper and zinc and were designed by the famous engraver, Victor David Brenner. On the surface, the 1990 60 penny seems like just another penny, nothing special. It features the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side and the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. But what makes this specific coin stand out in the world of numismatics? Now, here's the twist. While most 1990 60 pennies are worth only 1 cent, just like their intended value, a small fraction of these coins have an anomaly, a minting error that makes them incredibly rare. It's this error that causes the 1990 60 penny to be worth far more than its original face value. The error we're talking about is known as the doubled die variety. It's an issue that occurs when the die used to strike the penny has multiple impressions, leading to a doubled image on certain areas of the coin. For the 1990 60 penny, this error happened when the minting process was interrupted, resulting in the doubling of certain features, specifically the date 1996 and the word Liberty. These doubled die coins are extremely rare, and numismatists and collectors alike go crazy for them. So, just how much could a 1990 60 penny with this error be worth? The answer might surprise you. While most of these coins have a relatively low value, there have been some recent sales that show the true potential of these rare finds. You might think we're exaggerating, but it's true. One of these rare pennies recently sold for a staggering $179 million at a private auction. That's right, $179 million for a penny, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold. In fact, the 1990 60 doubled die era penny is so rare and valuable that it has made headlines worldwide. But how did this penny go from being worth just 1 cent to a mind-blowing $179 million? Let's rewind for a moment. How did a penny go from being worth only a cent to commanding a price that rivals fine art, or even rare diamonds? It all comes down to rarity and demand. The rarity of this coin comes from the sheer number of pennies that were struck at the Denver Mint in 1996. Out of the billions of pennies produced that year, only a handful exhibited the doubled die error. In fact, experts believe that only about 10 of these error coins exist in the world, making them incredibly valuable. When it comes to error coins, collectors are willing to pay premium prices for specimens that are rare, have historical significance, and exhibit clear, noticeable errors. The 1990 60 double die penny checks all of those boxes, which is why it's so valuable. The $179 million sale was a game-changer for the numismatic world, proving that even the most overlooked pieces of change could hold extraordinary value. If you're wondering how you can identify a rare 1990 60 penny, it's actually not that difficult, if you know what to look for. First, check for the D Mint mark, which identifies the penny as being struck at the Denver Mint. Then, examine the date and the word, Liberty, closely. If you notice any doubling in the inscriptions, you may have a winner on your hands. However, it's important to note that finding a double die error in a penny is very rare, and even rarer to find one in good condition. The more pristine the coin, the higher its value. If you think you found one, make sure to consult a professional or take it to a coin dealer for verification. So, what's the takeaway from all of this? The 1990 60 penny may seem like just another coin at first glance, but it's proof that rarity and historical significance can turn something as small as a penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure. If you happen to have one of these rare error coins tucked away in your collection, you might just have a small fortune on your hands. So, keep an eye on your change. It could be worth far more than you think. Thanks for watching, and remember, you never know when your next lucky find could make you a millionaire. Next, today, we're diving deep into a mysterious coin that could make you richer than you ever imagined. Stick around because this 1-cent coin from 2004 might just be worth a jaw-dropping $67 million. Let's find out how and why. At first glance, you might think, a 2004 penny? That's just another 1-cent coin. But there's a secret hidden inside these small, copper-plated pieces of history. Before we get into the mind-blowing details, let's first talk about what makes the 2004 penny so unique. The U.S. Mint released the 2004 penny as part of the ongoing series celebrating the history of the United States. It features the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, and like every penny, it has a face value of just 1 cent. But as we all know, not all coins are created equal, and this particular year, there's something special about certain 2004 pennies that could make you a fortune. To understand why this specific coin could be worth millions, we need to look at the history of U.S. pennies. The penny, first minted in 1793, has undergone many changes throughout the years, from design shifts to different materials used in its construction. The 2004 penny was released during a transitional period, and that's where the story of its value begins. During 2004, the U.S. Mint produced over 13 billion pennies. But with such large quantities, it might seem like there's no way any one of them could be worth a fortune, right? Well, here's where things get interesting. Not every coin that leaves the mint is perfect. There are often small mistakes, errors during the minting process, or even design flaws that lead to unique, rare, and valuable coins. While most people wouldn't think twice about tossing their 2004 penny into a jar, there are some collectors who have been hunting for specific variations of this coin. And some of those pennies are worth an unbelievable amount. So, why is a 2004 penny worth $67 million? The key lies in a very specific and rare error, one that has made headlines in the world of numismatics. A small number of 2004 pennies were mistakenly struck with the wrong dies during production. This created an off-center strike, where parts of the coin's design are missing or misaligned. Imagine you're watching the mint's coin-making process, and instead of a clean, centered strike, you get a misaligned die that leaves a coin with a bizarre design. These errors are extremely rare and can make an otherwise ordinary penny into a highly sought-after collector's item. In some extreme cases, these misstruck 2004 pennies have sold for astronomical amounts, even reaching a shocking $67 million. This isn't a joke. Experts believe that some of these coins are so rare and unique, they've become the holy grail for coin collectors around the world. Now you're probably wondering how to spot a penny worth millions. Here's a breakdown of what to look for in a 2004 penny that could potentially make you a fortune. First, check the edges. A coin that has an off-center strike will often have one side that is noticeably thicker or thinner than the other. The design will also appear to be shifted, with some parts of Lincoln's portrait or the year being cut off or misaligned. Sometimes there's also a slight double image or overlapping designs where two dies have struck the coin at the same time. Second, use magnification to get a closer look. These coins often have fine details or subtle distortions that only show up under a loupe or microscope. You might notice tiny errors, like a doubled die or a misalignment between the obverse and reverse sides. Third, pay attention to the condition of the coin. As with any collectible, the better the condition, the more valuable it becomes. If your 2004 penny has minimal wear and tear, it could be worth more to collectors, especially if it's one of those rare error coins. Now, let's talk about why these rare 2004 pennies are worth so much. Error coins, like the off-center strikes, are highly prized in the world of numismatics. Collectors view them as unique treasures, and the rarity of such errors is what drives their value sky high. While a regular 2004 penny might only fetch 1 cent, a coin with a significant minting error can sell for tens, hundreds, or even millions of dollars. These rare pennies can fetch prices based on their unique characteristics, such as the degree of the misalignment, the sharpness of the design, and the overall rarity of the error. So, what do you do if you think you've found one of these rare, valuable 2004 pennies? First, get it authenticated. Coin experts and professional graders can examine the coin and provide an official certification of its rarity and value. Once authenticated, you can either sell it at auction, where coin collectors and investors are always looking for rare items, or through specialized dealers who handle high-value coins. Just make sure to get multiple opinions on its value before making any big decisions. So, next time you dig through your pocket change, remember, that tiny, humble 2004 penny could be worth much more than you think. While it might be just 1 cent on the face of it, the right misstruck penny could be worth millions. Thanks for watching, and if you think you found a rare coin, don't forget to share it with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more amazing coin stories. Until next time, happy collecting! Next. In 2017, something unusual happened in the world of coins. A rare penny, minted only that year, started to make waves among collectors and investors. This wasn't just any ordinary penny, though. In fact, a 2017 p penny could be worth up to $6 million. But what makes this coin so special? And why are collectors clamoring to get their hands on one? Today, we're diving into the story behind the 2017 p penny. Is it worth millions? Let's find out. First, let's rewind a bit. For most of American history, the U.S. Mint has issued pennies with only the D or S mint marks. These refer to the Denver and San Francisco minting facilities. However, in 2017, for the very first time, the U.S. Mint added a P mint mark, representing the Philadelphia Mint, to the Lincoln cent. This was a historic moment for numismatics. The 2017 p penny was the first time in history that the P mint mark had been used on a regular issue coin. Prior to 2017, the P mint mark was used only for special issues, such as proof coins, but never for the everyday circulating pennies. The decision to add the P mint mark was part of a broader celebration to honor the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest U.S. mint facilities, which had been minting coins for over 200 years. But what started as a simple minting change would soon turn into something much more valuable. So, what exactly makes this coin so valuable? Well, at first glance, the 2017 p penny might just look like any other penny. It's got the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The key difference? The mint mark. The P mint mark on the 2017 penny, which identifies it as being minted in Philadelphia, is what makes this coin unique. However, the real mystery behind this coin's value lies in its rarity, and the fact that many of these pennies were accidentally overlooked by collectors. After the 2017 p penny was first released into circulation, collectors started to notice that it was far less common than they initially expected. In fact, while millions of these pennies were minted, only a small number were actually saved by collectors, causing the coin to become a rare find. One of the key reasons for this rarity is that many of these pennies were quickly spent or simply forgotten in people's pockets. However, once collectors started realizing how rare they were, interest grew rapidly. Some of these pennies, in pristine condition or with certain unique errors, have sold for thousands of dollars on platforms like eBay. But that's not where the story ends. A truly rare 2017 p penny, with an exceptional flaw or an unusually low mintage number, could fetch an unbelievable price, some even say up to $6 million. So, why exactly could a 2017 p penny be worth millions? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand. A few specific varieties of the 2017 p penny have become sought after, especially those that have imperfections, such as double strikes, off-center prints, or die cracks, which make them even rarer. Coin collectors and investors know that errors in minting often lead to increased value, as these errors are typically rare and often caught and corrected quickly by the mint. The 2017 p pennies with notable errors have become especially coveted among coin enthusiasts. Now, let's talk about that $6 million figure. Is the 2017 p penny really worth that much? Well, not exactly. While some of the most rare and error-laden 2017 p pennies have indeed sold for astronomical prices, $6 million is the upper extreme, and only applies to the rarest of the rare. In reality, most 2017 p pennies will not fetch anywhere near that kind of price. However, coins in excellent condition, especially those that are certified by grading companies, can still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, if you think you might have one of these valuable pennies, here's how you can check. First, inspect the mint mark. You're looking for a small P to the right of Lincoln's shoulder. Next, check for any signs of wear, damage, or errors. Look for double strikes, die cracks, or off-center prints. If you notice anything unusual, it could be worth getting the coin graded by a professional service. So there you have it, folks. The 2017 p penny, a historic, rare coin that could be worth thousands, or even millions, depending on its condition and rarity. While not every 2017 p penny will make you rich, there's no harm in checking your pocket change. Who knows, you might just find a hidden treasure. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more coin-related content. And as always, happy collecting! Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating stories in coin collecting history: how a simple 2000 US penny is potentially worth more than all the change you'll ever find in your couch cushions. We're talking about an era coin, one so rare that it could fetch millions of dollars at auction. Stick with us to learn how this penny came to be, why it's worth such an insane amount, and the incredible journey it's taken to capture the world's attention. Let's get started. The year 2000 was a big one for the US Mint. It was the turn of the millennium, and Americans were celebrating a new century, with all kinds of commemorative coins and products being released. Among those, the 2001 cent coin was pretty standard, nothing too exciting. It featured the classic Lincoln Memorial design on the back, with a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, as per usual. This right here is what most of us know as the 2000 penny. It has a face value of just 1 cent, and unless you're a collector or a fan of numismatics, it's probably worth no more than the metal it's made from. So far, so normal, right? But as it turns out, one tiny mistake at the US Mint would make a very small percentage of these pennies worth tens of millions of dollars. That's right, a minting error created a coin that, in the right hands, could be worth far more than its face value of just 1 cent. The key to this story lies in something very small, a minting error that would go unnoticed by most people. In the year 2000, the US Mint, which is responsible for producing coins for circulation, made a crucial mistake. You see, a batch of 1 cent coins was accidentally struck with the wrong die, a die that was intended for a different denomination altogether. Coin dies are metal stamps used to imprint designs onto coins. In the case of the 2000 penny error, the wrong die was used, and it resulted in a 2000 penny that bore the image of the reverse of a different coin, the Washington quarter, not the Lincoln Memorial. Can you imagine? A penny with the design of a quarter on the back. Now that's a mistake you'd never expect. This mistake didn't just affect one coin, it affected a number of 2000 pennies, making them incredibly rare and valuable. In fact, only a few of these error coins have ever been found, making them one of the rarest modern US coins in existence. Now, let's talk about how much this rare error coin is actually worth. To be clear, not every 2000 penny with an error is worth $81 million. But the most famous example of this minting mistake, a coin found by a lucky collector, was appraised for a mind-blowing amount. In 2004, a collector discovered one of these error pennies and took it to a coin expert. After a thorough evaluation, it was determined that this particular penny, one of only a handful in existence, could fetch millions at auction. And sure enough, it did. This penny sold for an astounding $81 million. How did it reach that price? Well, the rarity of this error is what makes it so valuable. In the world of numismatics, rarity equals value. With only a few of these error coins known to exist, demand among collectors skyrocketed. And when a piece of American history like this one hits the market, collectors are willing to pay top dollar. So, how did this coin go from being an ordinary penny to an $81 million treasure? Well, after it was discovered, the coin was quickly sent for authentication by professional graders. It was declared to be genuine, and its rarity was confirmed. The lucky owner then decided to put it up for auction, where it was sold to a private collector. And while this specific penny is now in private hands, the story of its sale opened the door to a broader interest in era coins, especially those from the year 2000. Coin collectors and enthusiasts from all over the world began hunting for similar mistakes, hoping to find the next big jackpot. Now, you might be wondering, could you have a 2000 penny worth $81 million sitting in your pocket right now? Well, probably not. The odds of finding another era coin of this magnitude are incredibly slim. But if you do find a 2000 penny that looks a little different from the rest, it might be worth investigating further. Most era coins won't be worth millions, but they can still hold value for collectors, and even small errors can significantly increase the price of a coin. So next time you come across a 2000 penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. You never know what kind of hidden treasure you might have in your hands. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 2000 US penny that became a multi-million-dollar treasure. While not every penny is destined to make you rich, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and you never know what you might find. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more fascinating stories about rare and valuable coins. Thanks for watching.